Team match, let's go.
The blue team has scored for the first time!
Cover me! Kill! Reloading! Enemy down! No mercy! Cover me! Expired! Enemy down!
Killing spree for the blue team! The blue team is in the lead. The blue team is unstoppable! The blue team is unstoppable! Killing spree for the blue team!
Cover me! Enemy down! Nice shot!
The blue team is unstoppable!
Great! You're about to win!
The blue team is heading to a perfect win!
Blue team victory!
Marked a location. Marked a location. Watch out! I need a side scope.
चलो चलें।
On me! On me!
Watch out! Enemies ahead! Help! Enemies ahead! Enemies ahead!
enjoy this game.
And ladies and gentlemen, here, that is going to be football is taking the chicken dinner for today. The first game for today. What a phenomenal finisher from football is here. Very tactical attack coming in from the southern side. Performance here. This is the footballers that we've been seeing from last year in the PMGC in Malaysia as well. This is how they usually play here. Extremely smart, extremely tactical, and their timing was impeccable on top of that. Look at the attack here from how they actually attack from the south side when they engage against BTR. That was insane. Like, who would have thought that the perfect timing was just wait them to kind of panic and then just go in for the sweep here, and just did not expect them to actually came out unscathed here, and they had actually 4 men alive despite the miss of so much offense from the northern section there, Ju.
I have to agree. The way they moved, they came in very late into the circle. Plus, they are not one of the teams. They're kind of in the center of all the entire faces. Plus, they didn't turn many heads before. Nobody gave them that much of attention that they needed. And nobody actually gave too much attention towards them when they first walked into the circle. And they just came in from the back, backstabbing every single team they can find, bulldozing, sacrifice a bit of here and there for the knockdowns, but come back quite strong for this one. And they just changed the whole team. I have to say, a bit back to the classic. If you watch how they move in unison for how football is moved as a 4 instead of the usual 1-3 or different kind of formation strategy that everybody's trying to vary and a bit of out of the box. But the way football is played, just back about the basics. It's just we go for 4 man, we go for every angle's covered, we just shoot whatever in front of us, take any compound that seems to be having a little bit of some neighborhood or whatsoever inside of that, and just wipe them out entirely. And they just don't hesitate to make a move. You saw how confident they are when they start moving forward to take out one compound after the other, and they never stop until they get themselves that chicken dinner.
Yeah, I really like how they actually took advantage of all the chaotic moments here, especially for the northern section. We saw Nav in the midst of all that fight, where they kind of just held their ground on this couple of mountains here. They were picking fights against 4am. 5am was also initially smack middle in the farmhouse as well. They were one of the biggest threat in the game here, and footballers, what they did was phenomenal, because no one would expect you to be able to win from the south section, especially when there's just so many teams taking advantage of those high ground vantage long range camps here. And footballers was able to just play a little bit slow, wait for the right timing. Even the engagement with BTR, they took it slow, take it tactical. They made sure they burn out resources before actually pushing out. And despite that, they were able to kind of flush out Konina power on top of that. And I think one of the biggest obstacle that footballers had faced was pretty much Team Secret going for the rush against them. Like, that was the deciding factor for footballers. If they lost that fight, that would be it for footballers, because if they took that fight, they pretty much get control of the circle here, where they have so much cover, they have so much information to deal with you as well, especially when the northern section of the circle, where all the teams were kind of stuck. They don't exactly have vehicles, they don't exactly have covers. They've expended so much in terms of resources just to get their backs covered in that regards here. So I would say footballers, they were smart in the sense where they had very, very little resources here. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen here, this is a very, very interesting game for you guys here. Congratulations for those of you guys who've actually guessed this out here, because as of now, this is going to be the million reward guess. And whoever is best footballist here, this is going to be a potential nice prize for you guys. A huge chunk here coming towards you guys who's pretty much predicted there, Chu.
And hopefully you guys get the guess right for the second game, because we have more games here today to be offered for you guys for your entertainment, and plus it's your tournament as well. We have 8 games in total, 8 matches to be presented here. First one will be the next one is going to be Miramar, and don't forget to hashtag away the magical word later. We're gonna announce it. But Digital Athletics, even though they didn't got themselves that chicken dinner just now, still stand strong with 1 point away from 4 a.m. 4 a.m. on the other hand, they didn't get that chicken, but it's more than enough to maintain at the top 3 here. With 141 points for Digital Athletics, 4 a.m. with 140 points second place. Secret catching up very soon, 136 at number 3. Nova XQF not performing quite well. Among the first one to be out, 128 points. 5th place Football is 115, 109. Bigatron Ray Aliens just 108, but 1 point away is going to be RRQ Athena. That's going to be the first pager.
Yep, and on the bottom side here, we do see Navi actually falling out towards the 9th place here. Going to be securing himself 105 total points here. Konina Power will remain on the 10th place here with 104 points in total. Team Secret Gene will fall into the 11th place here with 1 chicken dinner and 97 points. Alpha 7 on the 12th place here, actually pulling up in terms of ranks here with 89 points here, but it's still going to be a long climb towards the top half of the board here. Alpha Power 88 is going to be on the 13th place here. Arrow Wolf is going to be on the 14th place. ASL going to be 15th place here, and A1ES in the 16th place here. And A1ES feels a little bit unfortunate for them here, considering that this was the game that they stood a really good chance in the Northwest section. However, they were in a really tough spot because they were pinned between multiple teams here, especially coming from 4 a.m. as well as Team Secret. But before we get into more in-depth into that regards here, ladies and gentlemen, this is Loversin, the MVP for that match here. 5 kills in total, 727 damage has been done here. And guess what? You know, it's no surprises he's the MVP. Look, remember that fight where he kind of held the ground and kind of outplayed Zuxi in the bottom segment of the farmhouse there, and he was able to just apply pressure just by not doing anything. That was just insane. Like the trigger discipline to try and bait him out, despite knowing that Zuxi was pretty much out and open, free, pretty much an open free target for him to kill here. But he played it cool, played patient here. You know what? Let's play the numbers game. Let's not overextend and get enough kills. Let's play it for the win, and he did exactly that there, Chu.
They are playing team play. I'm talking about how they split into 2 teams to make sure they got themselves the safety of the zone, plus getting kills at the back line. But here's going to be the head-to-head between the Footballers player and Loversin, as well, talking about the damage, the contribution towards the team, how they actually made an impact into the entire game. It gave them a lot of, pretty much these 2 guys are the backbone for the team as well. And I have to say, Loversin did actually make a big play with 1 nick that can change everything. He drops a lot of bullets that actually mattered. And while Zeus, he survived the longest of all his teammates, but he contributed to as a team more than the other of Loversin, 44.3%, and he tanked quite a lot as well. Damage. It's all about how much you can secure the kill. It doesn't matter if you don't actually have that much damage output, as long as you secure the kills.
Yep, based on the stats as well, here are going to be some more stats for you guys here with kill and highest damage here. Looks like Footballers will be the topping the charts here with 2,497 damage done total, 15 kills here. Meanwhile, Zeus also being one of the biggest contributing factor in that game here. One of the biggest threat for some of these teams who's trying to rotate to his farmhouse was pretty much dealt by Zeus, Footballers, and 4 a.m. This was pretty much the 3 teams had full control in the final inner circles of farmhouse. And I liked how Footballers were playing the southern section here. 4 a.m. was one of the teams that initially were the first one to be docking into the farmhouse smack middle of all, and they were pretty much gatekeeping every single one who tries to make their in. However, despite the efforts coming from 4 a.m. here, they were playing a little bit early in that regards here. They went into the zone very early here. They expended so much utilities. They kind of lost 33 strength in the initial phase, but because of all those initial engagements, they forced every single team kind of stuck outside the circle, out and open. It's just unfortunate that they just could not rack up those kills. It's either stolen by the members coming from Zeus, or even people coming from Konina Power, who's pretty much having a fight down to the southern section against BTR. But that's the thing, you know, sometimes it's all about luck, sometimes it can be skill here, but it all comes down to taking advantage of the situation. In that case, I feel like Footballers and Zeus were one of the 2 teams that really stood out for me here too.
But now it's going to be the summary of the top 5 players that made such an impact, that turned the table for the teams. The higher kills so far, we have to give the credit to Lobos, and he's been helping holding that ground so long for the team. With longest distance kill, this is going to be fallen on Zeus. He did actually survive the last member as well for the team just now, while Ryzen, he's having quite an accuracy for the grenade that he tossed, 25% of grenade kills. Well, we do know Matic this time, he loves to be on vehicles, all 4 wheels for him, 10,000 over meters for the longest travel with highest assist here. It's going to be Soka who assisting Lobazin, possibly get 5 kills from Lobazin is being helped, assisted by Soka all the way. But I mentioned this before and I noticed one thing about Erangel. How football is playing this one out is pretty much almost the same how 4 a.m. approach towards the circle. They don't go way too early into the center of it, and they kind of wait until the second or third phase of the circle, take it out into the blue a bit more, then only they go into the center. And with this kind of a bit of a late rotation, sometimes it does actually buy them a lot of time to build up their loots, get all the arsenals that they need, picking up their armors and so forth. And then you can avoid as well unnecessary battle that might deplete your resources. So they don't want to have unnecessary casualty. They don't want to have one of their members being handicapped in the early game just to force a fight in an engagement they don't need to be. But before we go into further the game, let's reach a daily target and win another 1+18 because we are aiming for more viewership here today, and also you might just win yourself a 1+18. Just hashtag away, hashtag PMGCX1+, and just comment as creative as possible in the
more games to come here, but of course we are going to be having a lot of intense moments, especially coming from today here. But now, Chu, I want to bring recap here as the map goes here. As you can see, the teams were pretty spread out in initial phase here. When you see the circle kind of scanned their way through, in the sense where the first 3 circles was divided in between the mainland as well as the military island here. We see a huge diverge of teams kind of popping off towards the southern section here and also the northern section. And this is what I'm talking about. You saw how Aero was from the southern section here. They actually rotated out towards the western section and then hit towards the northwest section of this inner circle, which they kind of came into this next phase of circle kind of blind in that regards there, Chu.
And one more thing, this is talking about the circle splits the island into 2, and nobody knows, nobody has any idea about where the circle will favor. Will be on the southern side, will be in the mainland, who knows? But in the end of the day, they stick to their guts for footballers. They stay a bit on the Sonovska military base and then they rotate a bit later. But this is where the moment that you talked about, if they messed upon the fight versus Team Secret just now, it might not be their chicken for the first game. Luckily, they got it quite right. The decision making was precise. If they just flunk a bit, then it's going to be a big problem. It's all about how much area you can make. You don't have any room to make any mistakes anymore at this stage. We're down to day number 3 here, and nobody can slack off. You need to have all pumped up. You have to push everything that you have. Just put everything on the table. It's just now or never, or you might just lose. You know how big a difference of second and first place for the prize for itself. But it's not just about the money. It's also about the glory that they have been training for all this while. It's down to this couple of days, this 1 week to prove themselves. They got themselves that title.
Yeah, this is a great start here coming from footballers to actually catch up in terms of the points here, especially they made their way in towards the top 5 here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be playing 8 games in total for today. So 8 games in total here is not just a battle of strategies or even just the mind games here. It's all about stamina consistency. So in this regards here, back to basics is very, very important here. How well can you play with your team? How well can you play with your formation? And I feel like to start things off here, footballers was playing like how they are very, very comfortable. And I feel like, hey, this is the footballers that I'm looking for to see here, because they were the former champions and now they're starting to show back the true glory and true form of their playstyles. And can they keep up with the momentum here? Because now they've got a long climb. You know, we know that obviously the number one team right now is going to be Digital Athletics, but anything can happen. You know, it might be tilt, it might be miscommunication here, it might be also RNG in terms of circle here. It's 8 games total. You cannot afford to to throw away your momentum. Every single team here is in it to win for the best, to be called the king of kings here in PMGC. And seeing how things go here, there's a reason why Footballist was the former champion and now they're back in action here too.
Yeah, but I have to totally agree. Back then, we remember when they debuted in world stage, well, I think it was in Malaysia before. They kind of one of the teams that nobody gave too much attention towards them, and they've proven that they got what it takes to be just on the same par, the same table as the powerhouse, just like 4AM, just like the other teams of Nova SQF, or the teams that we've seen it championship multiple times before Vegatron and also RRQ. But the thing that Digital Athletics, I'm going to touch a bit of class into athletics here. But this team, this Turkish team, nobody seems to give too much attention towards them. They've been going so well throughout the entire league. They are one of the teams, one of the kind, the unique one to actually really huge potential and growth being shown day by day. They learn, they just apply it in the game. They just don't sit quietly. They don't do the same thing twice. They learn from their mistake. That's what really matters for these guys. You have to learn from your mistake. If you keep on doing the same thing over and over again, it will be pointless up to the point you will get left behind.
Yeah, that's the thing about Class Digital Athletics, right? They were one of the teams that grew in this entire tournament here, from PMCO heading towards PMGC League here as well. And for them to be able to grow, the casters here, especially from Jason as well as John, they did mention as well, they kind of started growing during the third week of the Super weekend as well, and they started to show their fans that, hey, they've started to learn, they've started to improve here. And after the PUBG Mobile Global scrims here, they had a couple of scrims, they actually adapted even quicker here. So I've also had a couple conversations with some of the managers that they mentioned that, hey, they don't exactly know what's up. And to bring up to the point that you mentioned as well, where, hey, teams don't exactly know what they're doing, and this is their moment here. They are the unknown factor, and considering that they are also from Turkey and they play alongside Footballers here, people are very teams are struggling to deal with them. But can they we are going to be pushing towards the northern segment here, Chu. To start things off here, this is going to be a really, really insane game here, Chu.
Yep, when back to Miramar, it's all about the terrain, getting yourself familiarized with the geography. You have to know every nook and cranny where will be the best.